Tired of 80s, tired of 80s, tired of 80s guys. 80s and 90s video world, so good it'll make you cry. For this first episode of Late Christmas Video World, it's episode 18! The first TY-neesode. I'll dig Mania on the Nintendo Switch. Hey everybody, I am the one, the only Tidy 80s guy, and welcome to episode 18 of Tidy 80s Guys. 80s and 90s, a video world. Hey! 18 is a greatly important number to me because it reminds me of the fact that the channel Fox, when it first was created in 1987, was on channel 18, and that was on the old TVs back in the 1980s. And I remember seeing Mama's Family on there and the now cult classic creepy Saturday night show Werewolf. And I used to watch some of them at my Aunt Becky's house here in Granite Falls, North Carolina. But I'll tell you more about that and the many fun times I had there when I was a kid in another episode. So here's a great big shout out to Aunt Becky Evans. Thank you so much for allowing me to stay at your house for many Saturday nights when I was just a little kid. I love you, Aunt Becky. If you didn't see the end of the last episode, then you didn't see this Don't Stop Believin' Santa Claus shirt, and you definitely didn't see my magic bell of Christmas spirit, and I'll be telling you about that in another episode soon. Because this is Late Christmas Video World! The original plan for this episode was to tell you about last year's Christmas Eve celebration and the Christmas at Dad's the next day, the Christmases that were on time, TYME, and the start of my late Christmases because of my busy work schedule and how it's really hard to get everybody together in just a couple weeks. But this is the week that Nintendo has their greatly big Nintendo Switch presentation on Thursday at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern, live from Tokyo, Japan. And the next day, on Friday the 13th, instead of lots of bad luck, there's going to be lots of great luck with Treehouse Live at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, where they'll be showing all kinds of demos, hours of demos for upcoming games on the Nintendo Switch. And the Nintendo Switch presentation is Tie Night. So that means that throughout the rest of this week and into next week, it will be nothing but Nintendo Switch related episodes of Video World. If you go down below in the video description under greatly special links, number 1 will take you to the Nintendo Switch presentation on Nintendo's YouTube. Number 2 will take you to the page for Treehouse Live with all those Nintendo Switch game demos. So save these 2 links because you're gonna need them. Tie Night and Tie-morrow. In honor of the awesome number 18 and the fact that this is the first real episode of the new year, this is the first TY-neesode of Video World. The TY-neesode was inspired by my behind-the-scenes series for Video World called Tiny Ty Talk. Most of those episodes were designed to be under 10 minutes in length. I know a lot of people are very busy and we don't always have the longest attention spans, so I'm actually going to be making episodes of Video World, all of them from now on, under 8 minutes in length. I've heard all your suggestions, and I'm going to focus on better sound, much better 80s and 90s content, and if episodes go too long, they will be broken up into parts. And for the fourth big change, much less captions on screen, because that's just too much to have to read, and a lot of times it didn't even stay on screen long enough to read. It was constantly too distracting. I hope that you will enjoy this new format much better. Just remember that because this series is called 80s and 90s Video World, I want the visuals to look low quality, and I want the sound to sound retro too. So don't expect crisp, clear visuals and amazing audio. I have my own style how I want to do this series, and I really hope that it will grow on you and you will start to enjoy the way I do things here. Now on to talking about Mania. Okay, so it was 1997 and it was either summer or fall, which meant that I was either on summer vacation or I was already in 9th grade as a freshman. This was back when we had media play in Hickory, North Carolina, which is a city not too far from here, about 10 minutes away. I used to love to go in there and look at the Super Nintendo video games. I still didn't have a Nintendo 64. There were still plenty of Super Nintendo and Game Boy games that were not getting commercials on TV. And these were games made by Nintendo. And you could just go in the Media Play or Toys R Us, and you could go to this big panel and push a button, and then on the TV screen above it, it would play a commercial for it. That's where I first saw Mania. It just looks so cool. I saw the little mole burrow up through the tunnel into level 1, which had like some trees and grass. It was like a map screen. It said Jinby Land on it. And then that kangaroo with the boxing gloves throwing the apples, which is actually a boss in the game named Kangaroon, as I would find out later. And even more later on, I would find out that Kangaroon reminded me of the classic Atari arcade game Kangaroo, where you played as Mother Kangaroo, who had boxing gloves, and monkeys threw apples at her as she tried to climb up the ladders and up the branches of the trees to retrieve her baby. And this was a 1982 arcade game. But anyway, all I had to see was that map screen with level 1, and showed a couple other levels on there on the map screen, the different environments, and I don't remember much about it, but it was that kangaroo boss that caught my attention. From that point on, I wanted Mania, and I told my dad I wanted it pretty badly. That's what I asked for Christmas. So when Christmas 1997 rolled around and we were all gathered around the tree at Mom's house, and I'm telling you, my mom loved Christmas, and we had big Christmases every year up until the late 90s and into 2000 or 2001. And yep, I got Mania from my dad, and back then these monochrome Game Boy games were between $20 and $30, and I think that this was a $30 game. And most of the time, $30 was the price for a first-party Nintendo Game Boy title. But Dad probably got it for a few bucks cheaper, probably about $27, because he probably got it at Media Play, where the games were usually a few bucks cheaper than other stores. I was so happy. I kept on reading that manual over and over again, and I played it, was hooked on it, but had a lot of trouble because it was very difficult at times. But it was fun, the characters and everything, the gameplay. Here is a TY fact from Ty the 80s Guy's Great 80s and 90s Museum. And that's right here. There it is, everybody. There is Mania. See that new release sticker on there? And the angry guy jumping up and down there is Jinby or Jinbei, as it says on the back of this box. And that's Muddy Mole there in the center, and there's his kids and his wife, And the old mole with the beard is Grandpa Hint, who gives you hints throughout the game. And notice on the bottom it says, "You'll dig Mole Mania." That's where I got my title from. I'll dig Mole Mania, and I even put the exclamation point in the title of this episode. So let's read the back of it. Mole Mania. Help Muddy solve the puzzles of Jinbei Land. Join Muddy Mole in a race to destroy enemies and obstacles in an attempt to defeat the evil farmer Jinbei. Blast strategic exits using black balls and tunnel your way to the next action-packed level. Help Muddy solve the incredible puzzles of Jinbei Land and reunite him with his beloved mole family. You'll dig the fast-paced and challenging fun of Mole Mania. Get into the Mania above ground and tunnel underground through 175 challenging puzzles. Play alone as Muddy Mole or link up with the Game Link cable for 2-player. Head-to-head fun. Battery-backed memory saves your progress. And let me tell you, back in the day, for games like this, as long as they were and as frustrating as they could be, having battery-backed saving was so important. There's the evil farmer Jinbei, or Jinbei. And there is Kangaroon. And then there is Muddy throwing a black ball over his head. The sad thing about Mole Mania is that it did not do well. It was released at a time when the Nintendo 64 was popular, with Super Mario 64 and the other hits at the time on there, and the Super Nintendo was pretty much dead at this point. So unfortunately Mole Mania flopped big time. So I want to see this game get re-released on Nintendo Switch next to a sequel. I want the Super Game Boy Game Pack style border that came with this game when you put it in the Super Game Boy. I want to see Muddy's claws dug into the border with the Mole Mania logo on top, with the different colors that were set up for the levels and the characters and stuff like that for the Super Game Boy version. Oh yeah, and include a dark green and light green color tint to this so it will look like the original Game Boy. I also want to see a sequel with this too. Bring back all the bosses from the original game. Add a good 5 to 10 levels, and when I say levels, I mean worlds. But it was cool how they named a world a level. The levels were kind of like the dungeons in The Legend of Zelda. A map to find, hearts to collect, even a potion that would fully heal Muddy, and it was very helpful to have that during boss battles. So I really want Nintendo to re-release the original Mole Mania and a sequel on the same game pack, and with hundreds of more puzzles to solve. They could even make it where you could download puzzles from online like they used to do in the Professor Layton games for the DS. This is one of those games, along with the legendary Starfy on DS, that deserves another chance here in North America. It's also a game made by Shigeru Miyamoto, and so many of you should know him already as the creator of Mario, Donkey Kong, The Legend of Zelda, and other games. So Nintendo, please give Muddy Mole, Jinbei the Farmer, and his family, everybody in this game, another chance, because Mole Mania definitely deserves it. And now for greatly special link number 3, which will take you to the official Nintendo trailer for the eShop version of Mole Mania. And that is the original Game Boy version that you can download right now on the Nintendo 3DS for only $2.99. And for greatly special link number 4, and the last one of this video, it will take you to IGN's review of Mole Mania. You want to learn a lot more about Mole Mania? Well, I am definitely not done, because in a couple weeks after this Nintendo Switch stuff dies down, or maybe even sooner, I will be doing a special episode about Mole Mania. Well, unfortunately, I was unable to accomplish my goal of making this the very first TY-neesode, which meant I would have been able to keep it under 8 minutes. But this was still much shorter than the last one, which was over an hour. And I used less captions in this one. If I didn't use the captions that I did, then this episode would have been over 30 minutes. So for the next episode, I will try much harder to make it the very first TY-neesode. I know so many of you out there are so anxious and so impatient like I am. I'm sorry, Nintendo. The wait for the Nintendo Switch presentation is killing me. So you can kill over an hour of time for greatly special link number 5. No, I didn't lie to you. This was supposed to be a surprise. Check out episode 17 of Tidy 80s Guys 80s and 90s Video World, which is 40. Count that. 40 Super Mario Switch predictions. And if you don't know what Super Mario Switch is, it is the upcoming big 3D Mario game for the Nintendo Switch. Get excited, people! Get excited! Woo! Anyway, at the start of the next episode, if I am very successful in getting a pre-order for the Nintendo Switch and some games, and my best friend Michael Bentley is taking me up there, we're going to eat breakfast in the parking lot. We're going to wait for 2.5 hours for them to open at 10 o'clock. When I walk out of GameStop, I will have that receipt, and I will show it to you at the start of the next episode, which will be a Nintendo presentation celebration episode. Woo! Anyway, and after you watch episode 17, you can go back and look at the other episodes of this season. Have to do with Nintendo NX before it was revealed as the Switch, and the other Nintendo Switch episodes. So there's a few hours of content to watch to keep you busy before the Nintendo Switch presentation! That's it for this episode, so have a great day, because in this episode it is daytime and not usually night, as I usually say, or night, depending on where you are, and be fantastically chipperific. I'll see you very soon to celebrate the Nintendo Switch presentation! Yay! And in the classic words of Tiny Tim from A Christmas Carol, God bless us everyone. Goodbye. Nintendo Switch! Nintendo Switch! Nintendo Switch! Yes! Yes! Nintendo Switch! 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 Woo! Yes! Yes! Nintendo Switch!